Let's try it. All right. So we already know that China, and I use China as an example because we have COVID, but we already know that China has the ability to disseminate a virus across the world. And now we know that we are reliant on them for many of our drugs. From a physician perspective, how could that go wrong?
This is the horrible situation. America makes only about 10% of our active pharmaceutical ingredients. These are the simple things. Think about, antibiotics, penicillin, ampicillin, Keflex. Think about insulin or monoclonal antibodies. These are real simple things. And I think it's important that your listeners understand how this came to be. What China does is they steal our technology, then they replicate it, they bring it up to scale. Then after they're up to scale, what they'll do is they'll enter the market with a product and undercut all their competition. And after they corner the market, they create an artificial shortage of that particular drug, and then they raise their prices. That's their model. I saw this as a physician long before I came to Congress. I was doing an infertility surgery, and I asked the nurses, I needed some methylene blue to make sure someone's fallopian tubes were open. And they said, "Oh, doc, we ran out of it." And I said, "Well, how come?" And they said, "Well, it's made in China, and that's the only place we can get it from now." So these are just a few examples of what we see going on.
Oh, my.
It's mind-numbing. That anecdote is so powerful because there's a real-time medical need, and it's not available. This has been a long time coming. How did we take our eye off the ball as a country, and is anyone now starting to put the focus on it?
Yeah, I do think it's number one is we did turn our back away from it. And when the economics of it, why can China make this cheaper than the United States? Okay, and let's think about that for a second. Okay, they steal the technology, so they didn't pay for the research and development. They have cheap labor. They use dirty energy. And here's the big scary thing, though, is the standards. They don't have the same consistency, the same standards that you and I would expect in the situation. They also use knockoff drugs. I'm really, really concerned about the compounding pharmacy industry right now, that China is sending over a knockoff compound close to the other GLP-1 competitors, but it's not exactly the same thing. At least 14 people have died in the past year taking this knockoff drug. So I think that on the one hand, we turned our back to it, but they really are able to do it cheaper. But like I tell people, the last thing you want is cheap healthcare, cheap medications.